everyone, it's Shroomy back with another video. This time I'm turning the characters from the Digital Circus into people. The Amazing Digital Circus pilot only just came out on October the 14th by Glitch Productions, a show very well known for making murder drones. The concept of the show is exactly what it sounds like, a digital circus, where you put on a headset and you get trapped inside a digital circus. The main character is a small jester called Pomni who's only just come to the digital circus, and she's introduced to all of these weird, wacky, strange things. She can't remember her name, anything about her life, or how she came there. All she knows is that she put on a headset and now she can't leave. For this video, I didn't necessarily want to imagine what all the characters' lives were like before they joined the circus, since the pilot episode has only just come out and we know very, very little. Instead, I kind of wanted to imagine what the characters we see on the screen would look like if they were a human. I've done this with all of the characters except the last one, because I just really liked the idea that I came up with for what her life was like before she joined the circus. First up, we have the main character and newest member of the digital circus, Pomni. In the pilot, we see Pomni's story as she first arrives into the circus and starts freaking out and panicking over being in this new place. For this, I imagined, since Pomni's anxiety seems to be so bad, I don't think she would have gotten out much when she was a human, which is why when I designed her, I put her in pajamas. I also gave her a little woolly hat that is meant to imitate her jester's cap. Pomni is probably my second favourite characters out of the digital circus, in second place after Kingo, of course. I really like her character, I like how nervous she is, and I like how close she gets to finding the end, and I'm really excited to see what she's like later on when the actual show comes out. I also love her character design. I absolutely adore it, and I really just her eyes, and the creative liberties the writers come when it comes to showing her emotions through her eyes. I really like it. Yeah. I also like how the little moments of foreshadowing. I'm really excited to see what they turn out to be in the future. For example, Pomni's name meaning remember, or how she's going to escape, because she is most definitely the person who's gotten closest to escaping out of anyone so far, to the point where she even got Kane to admit that there was technically an exit. It was just unfinished at this point, which, assuming the fact that Kingo is 48 years old and he is the first one to enter, the digital circus has been around for a long time, and Kane has only just admitted that there's an exit, which I find really interesting. Next up, we have Zooble, one of my favorite designs in the entire show, and one of my favorite redesigns when I was imagining them as a human. Zooble's character is kind of a huge jerk. Zooble goes around constantly testing the sensors inside the digital circus, yelling at everyone. Well, not yelling, but definitely grumping at everyone, and kind of just leaving in the middle of adventures and stuff, which doesn't exactly work out in the pilot, since they get taken apart and kidnapped by the Gloinks. I really like Zooble's character design. It's just so weird, and it's crazy to imagine someone thinking this design up. This is the first design I made for Zooble. Didn't really work out. I just didn't like it very much. The liner was too thick and the proportions were completely off. Like, Zooble's legs were far too short, and I don't know why I tried to give them a hood. I'm not very good at drawing hoods, so I did end up scrapping that. And I'm much happier with Zooble's new design. When it came to referencing Zooble's mismatched limbs, what I basically did was I gave them a prosthetic leg on one leg, since you can see one of their legs looks very non-human, so I decided to make it a prosthetic leg. And I also gave them a wonky eye, since one of Zubal's eyes is very swollen and a bit twirly, so I figured it would work pretty well if I turned that into a bit of a wonky eye. I've forgotten what they're called. But yeah, this is me just thinning out the line art because I realized that the line art for Zubal was still far too thick, and I love the name. I love the name Zubal so much. It's such a fun name. This is me recoloring them, and this is most definitely my favorite character design. I really like this character design, and I really like all of the different colors and the neons and just how crazy it looks, because this is absolutely the kind of outfit I'd want to wear, you know what I'm saying? It's just such a fun outfit, and I really like how everything tied together, and I feel like I got Zubal's energy across quite well, despite the super bright and inviting colors. They still look very angry. I made the shadows quite a neon purple, since I wanted to incorporate more pinks into the design, and a more neon shading thing would, I feel like, fit pretty well. I'm still not sure about the little blushes on their face, but the thing is their face looked a bit plain, so I just wanted to add a little something in to kind of make their face look less plain and empty, you know? I'm really excited how they play around with the detachable limbs and stuff when it comes to the actual show, because I really want to see how that plays into the I'm really curious to see how that plays into the story and the adventures, because I can imagine it would probably be pretty difficult to like run away from a monster when one of your legs is a curly little stick. And I'm just really excited to see all the different things they try out with it. I love characters with removable limbs, like Ida from the Owl House and stuff. It's just so fun, and you can do so much with it. Um, yeah. Now on to my all-time favorite character, Kinga. Kinga is a really, really interesting character. He's the oldest character in the show, with at 48 years old, while the second oldest is Ragatha, who's only 30. And it's said in the show that he's been there longer than anyone else, meaning that he was the first ever person to get stuck in the digital circus, and he's still around without getting abstracted, which is very, very interesting. Kingo's a bit of a silly little Kingo's a bit of a silly character. He's not really fully there a lot of the time. Like, there's plenty of times in the show where he'll be talking to someone else, or he'll be talking to another one of the characters, and he'll just kind of stare at them a while before screaming because he forgot that they were there. And I really wanted to get this nervous energy he kind of carries around across in the design. I turned his royal robes into a dressing gown, because he just seems like the type. He seems like he would be very cozy, and he would kind of like stay in his house a lot, and he doesn't really get out much. And yeah, I couldn't quite get the cross on his head across. I was heavily considering making him wear one, but I just felt like it didn't fit the character I was trying to get across. So what I did instead was I just gave him a bit of poofy hair, since I figured that might work, but I'm not sure. Out of all the characters in the Amazing Digital Circus, Kingo's the character who I'm most excited to learn more about, partially because of the fact that he's been there longer than anyone else that's ever been in the Digital Circus before has, and partially because of the things he says. For example, at the end of the pilot, we have a little moment when we're zooming into Pomni and learning that Pomni's kind of losing the plot a little bit. In the background, we can hear Kingo deeply explaining the digital circus and how it works and different things and how they affect the characters in the digital circus, only to immediately forget what he's talking about and kind of forget he's in the digital world after all, which I find incredibly fascinating. I love the idea that Kingo's actually incredibly smart, and it makes me wonder if maybe he had some kind of involvement in the creation of the digital circus, just based on how much he seems to know about the technology and these kinds of things, and the fact that he's been there longer than anyone else. I also really want to learn about another character who, if you're looking in the background, you see her, you very briefly see her in the background, a character who the creators have confirmed are called Queenie. Every single character that's ever been in the digital circus has their own room. However, characters that have been abstracted, which basically is another way of them dying, characters that have been abstracted have had their rooms crossed out, and in the background we can see this Queenie character has also had her room crossed out, and I'm very interested to see if maybe that's why Kinger's so odd. Maybe he witnessed her getting abstracted firsthand. And he has such an interesting character, and I'm so excited to see what happens to him in the show, you know? Last up is Ragatha. Now, as usual, the last character is always the most difficult character to do. Originally, Jax was going to be the last character that I redesigned, but I found that the more I tried to draw him, the less interesting his designs got. All I could do was draw a dude in dungarees, and that was a bit dull, so I didn't really want to do that. And then I tried to draw Kane as some kind of robotic AI weird thingy, but I just couldn't get Kane's proportions right no matter how hard I tried. And then I was like, well, Ragatha would be a bit boring. But then I thought, hey, what if I tried to make Ragatha what she would have been like as a human? So here we are doing what I think Ragatha would have been like as a human. Ragatha is very much the big sister of the digital circus. She's very nice. She kind of comforts all of the new characters that come in. She explains everything, and she tries to stop Jax from bullying everyone and being horrible. But she's also a little bit of a pushover. During the pilot episode, she gets attacked by an abstracted character and starts glitching out and asks Pomni for help. However, while asking Pomni for help, she's spending the entire time going, "Don't worry, I absolutely understand if you don't actually want to help me. It really hurts, but it's okay if you don't want to help me. I get that it's scary." And when Pomni runs away, Ragatha is fine with it and just says, "Yeah, no, that's okay. I totally understand." She also tends to panic quite a lot, and gets very stressed out very easily, as shown when Jax makes a joke about putting centipedes in her room, and she immediately flips out and starts stressing out about how scared she is of centipedes, which makes me think that when she was human, she might have been a teacher, because we all know how tired out and like run dry teachers are. They're completely overworked. And I feel like Ragatha, and since Ragatha's 30 years old, it's very plausible that she had like a full-time job like being a teacher. And yeah, I feel like it's very fitting for her, and it would also match with her very stressed out personality. For her button eye, I gave her a little patch across her eye, and instead of giving her bright red hair, I changed it to more of a ginger color. Um, all of the colors are a lot more faded than all of the other characters I've drawn, but that's because I feel like Ragatha, I feel like just a washed out kind of color scheme works very well for a very exhausted looking Ragatha. But I'm not sure if that really works. I also added the bow around her waist to kind of imitate the bow in her hair, but I did add some strands of hair at the top of her head to kind of imitate the bow in her hair, even though I did add it around her waist. I do wish the proportions of the shoulders are a little off, and I do really wish that I'd made her skirt a lot longer. I didn't realize it until I was finished, but the skirt actually looks very, very short, especially compared to her arms. I feel like if I'd made this skirt a bit longer, then it would have made her arms look much less long and lanky. Which I kind of regret, but I can't really go back on it now because I've already finished up the whole thing. But other than that, I'm actually very happy with this character design. I don't think I've drawn a hand that well in my life ever, so I'm really pleased with it. And I do feel like I captured the vibe that I was going for very well, which I'm very pleased with. So yeah, that's all of them. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have anything to say about the art or anything to say about the amazing digital circus in general down in the comments, then I'd be happy to read them. I love the amazing digital circus so much. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye!